Destroy negative thinking, unlock your path. Introduction. Negative thinking is one of the most silent and powerful forces that can derail our dreams, sap our energy, and keep us trapped in cycles of fear, doubt, and hesitation. Every great journey, every meaningful achievement begins first in the mind, and when that mind is clouded with negativity, the path forward feels not only uncertain but impossible. Yet so many of us are unaware of just how much control these thoughts have over our lives, and even fewer realize that we have the power to change them. Destroy negative thinking. Unlock your path is not just a call to think positively, but a practical, step-by-step guide to uprooting the toxic patterns that have quietly taken root over years, maybe even decades, and replacing them with a mindset that is strong, hopeful, and unstoppable. This book will challenge you to look deeply at your thought habits and the automatic reactions you have to challenges, criticisms, and failures. It will show you how to break the loop of defeatist thinking by helping you understand where these thoughts come from, how they gain power, and how they can be dismantled piece by piece with awareness, deliberate action, and self-compassion. Throughout the chapters, we will explore not only the mechanics of negative thinking but also the emotional landscapes it creates. The constant self-doubt, the paralyzing fear of failure, the endless comparisons to others, and the low-grade anxiety that keeps you playing small when you were meant for so much more. We'll discuss how the mind, left unchecked, tends to replay old wounds and failures like broken records, reinforcing an identity of not good enough, even when all evidence points to your potential, your strength, and your ability to overcome. In unlocking your path, we don't simply slap positive affirmations over deep wounds. Instead, we will do the real work of healing, of rewiring the mind, and of giving yourself permission to dream bigger, act braver, and live more fully. You will learn how to recognize the subtle, sometimes sneaky forms of negativity, like procrastination, cynicism, perfectionism, and chronic worry, that disguise themselves as realism or prudence, but in fact are just fear in a clever costume. You will learn to replace these patterns with clarity, grounded optimism, and fierce self-trust. Every chapter is designed to build on the last, guiding you through a transformational process that doesn't just offer surface-level advice, but real, lasting change. The tools and strategies inside are simple, but profoundly powerful when applied consistently. Mindfulness exercises that bring awareness to your thought patterns, journaling prompts that uncover hidden beliefs, practical techniques for building mental resilience, and daily rituals that create a supportive environment for your new mindset to thrive. You'll also discover the critical role your environment, your relationships, your media intake, your daily routines, plays in either reinforcing or dismantling negative thinking, and you'll learn how to curate your surroundings to nourish a more empowered, hopeful version of yourself. This journey will ask you to be honest with yourself, to let go of old stories that no longer serve you, and to bravely step into new ways of thinking, feeling, and being. It will require patience, practice, and at times, a willingness to sit with discomfort. But every step you take will move you closer to a life of greater freedom, joy, and fulfillment. Destroy negative thinking. Unlock your path is ultimately about reclaiming your mind as a place of creativity, courage, and belief rather than fear, judgment, and limitation. It's about becoming the conscious architect of your own reality rather than the passive victim of unconscious programming. It's about understanding that the thoughts you entertain daily are not harmless. They are the seeds that eventually bloom into your habits, your actions, your identity, and your destiny. By learning to destroy negative thinking, you are learning to unlock not just a new path, but your truest, most powerful self. This is your invitation to stop living life on autopilot, to stop letting fear call the shots, and to step fully into the life you were meant to live. Whether you are facing self-doubt in your career, struggling with relationships, battling inner criticism about your worth, or simply feeling stuck in a pattern of procrastination and fear, know that you are not alone, and more importantly, know that change is possible. It doesn't require you to be perfect. It doesn't require you to have all the answers today. It only requires you to take the first step, the choice to believe that a different way of thinking and living is within your reach. So if you are ready to stop letting negative thinking steal your dreams, if you are ready to unlock the limitless potential that already lives inside you, then this book is for you. Together, we will embark on a journey of awareness, transformation, and liberation. Together, we will destroy negative thinking and unlock the incredible path that is waiting just beyond it. Chapter 1. Understanding the roots of negative thinking. Negative thinking doesn't appear out of nowhere. It has roots that run deep into our early experiences, our environment, and the way our brains naturally function to protect us from harm. To truly destroy negative thinking, we must first understand where it begins and why it feels so automatic and powerful. From childhood, many of us are shaped by the words, actions, and emotional reactions of the people around us. parents, teachers, peers, and society. When we are young and impressionable, we absorb beliefs about ourselves and the world without questioning them, and unfortunately, many of these early messages are rooted in fear, limitation, and judgment. A single careless comment from a parent like "you're not good enough," or a repeated experience of failure in school can plant seeds of doubt that blossom into pervasive self-criticism later in life. Our survival instincts also play a role. The human brain has a natural negativity bias, a built-in tendency to pay more attention to threats and negative experiences than to positive ones. This bias, once essential for avoiding danger in a primitive world, now often leads us to ruminate on failures, magnify flaws, and expect the worst even in safe, everyday situations. Over time, these patterns solidify into neural pathways, well-worn mental trails that the brain follows almost automatically, making negative thinking a habit rather than a conscious choice. Cultural conditioning also feeds into this, as societies often emphasize achievement, competition, and external validation, subtly teaching us that our worth is conditional, tied to success, appearance, wealth, or approval from others. In such an environment, it's easy to develop an internal dialogue that says, "I'm not enough unless I prove myself," setting the stage for chronic anxiety, perfectionism, and self-doubt. Media and social networks further amplify this cycle, bombarding us daily with images of seemingly perfect lives and success stories that make our own struggles feel like failures by comparison. Traumatic experiences, whether large or small, also leave a deep imprint. When we encounter emotional pain, rejection, betrayal, or loss, our minds often create protective mechanisms, walls of pessimism, distrust, and fear, intended to shield us from being hurt again. These walls, however, can become cages, trapping us in cycles of avoidance and negative expectation. Self-protective thoughts like, "I'll fail anyway, so why try?" or "people can't be trusted," initially serve a purpose, to guard against further pain, but over time they shrink our lives, close off opportunities, and prevent authentic connection and growth. Family dynamics play a critical role as well. If we grew up in environments where love and acceptance were conditional, where criticism outweighed encouragement, or where emotions were suppressed rather than supported, we may have internalized the belief that mistakes are shameful, vulnerability is dangerous, and that we must constantly strive, hide, or please in order to be loved. These deep-seated beliefs are often invisible to us. We operate under them like invisible scripts, wondering why we feel chronically anxious, fearful, or stuck without realizing that the root lies in early programming that no longer serves us. Negative thinking can also be reinforced by repeated failure or rejection in adulthood, job losses, broken relationships, financial struggles. Each disappointment layering fresh evidence onto the old belief that we are somehow inadequate or doomed to fail. Without intervention, these accumulated experiences can build a heavy emotional weight, causing pessimism to feel not only justified but inevitable. It's important to understand that negative thinking is rarely about reality itself. It's about the interpretation of reality filtered through a lens of fear and past pain. Two people can face the same challenge and have vastly different reactions. One sees an opportunity for growth, the other sees confirmation of their worst fears. This shows us that the problem is not just in the circumstances but in the internal lens through which we view them. Our minds are powerful storytellers, and when left unchecked, they often default to negative narratives because those narratives seem safer. If we expect the worst, we can't be disappointed, or so we believe. Yet this defensive pessimism does not protect us. It prevents us from living fully. Understanding the roots of negative thinking gives us the first critical insight. These patterns are not who we are, they are learned responses, conditioned behaviors, and outdated survival strategies. They are habits of mind, not truths. And like any habit, they can be changed with awareness, intention, and consistent practice. Recognizing that your negative thoughts are not an accurate reflection of reality, but rather reflections of old wounds, biases, and fears, is profoundly liberating. It means you are not broken. You are simply human, operating under programming that you now have the power to rewire. By bringing compassionate awareness to your own mental habits, you can begin to separate your true self, your wise, capable, and courageous self, from the fear-driven voice of negativity. You can begin to see that every negative thought, every self-doubt, every fearful prediction is not a prophecy, but a conditioned pattern trying to protect you in the only way it knows how. When you understand the roots of your negative thinking, you move from being a victim of your thoughts to a conscious observer and, ultimately, their master. This chapter sets the foundation for all that follows because before you can destroy negative thinking, you must first meet it with understanding, patience, and the unwavering belief that you have the power to change not just what you think but the very way you think. The journey to unlock your path begins here, with the simple but profound truth that your mind is not your enemy. It is your most powerful ally once you learn how to work with it rather than against it. The roots of negative thinking are deep, but they are not permanent, and by understanding them, you begin the powerful process of pulling them out, clearing the ground and preparing the soil for new, stronger, and more life-affirming thoughts to grow. Chapter 2. Identifying your inner critic. Every person carries within them an inner critic, that persistent, often harsh voice inside their head that questions their worth, criticizes their choices, exaggerates their flaws, and downplays their successes. And identifying this inner critic is one of the most important steps toward destroying negative thinking and unlocking a healthier, more empowered path forward. The inner critic is sneaky and shape-shifting. It doesn't always sound like an obvious insult but often comes disguised as realism, self-improvement, or protection. It says things like, "You'll never be good enough, why even bother trying? Everyone else is doing better than you always mess things up," or "You'll just embarrass yourself." At times, it may even seem like it's trying to help by warning you about dangers or setting reasonable limits, but beneath its words lies a deeper message of fear, shame, and unworthiness. The inner critic is not your intuition or your true voice. It is a mental construct built from years of accumulated experiences, judgments, criticisms from others, societal expectations, and painful memories. Often, its tone and language mirror the voices of authority figures from our past. Parents who were overly critical, teachers who focused on our failures rather than our efforts, peers who bullied or rejected us. And over time, we internalized these external voices until they became self-generated. By adulthood, the inner critic can feel so natural and familiar that we barely recognize its presence. We simply accept its judgments as truth and allow them to shape our actions, relationships, and self-image. Identifying your inner critic requires conscious attention and a willingness to examine your own thoughts with curiosity rather than judgment. It means noticing the moments when a harsh, discouraging voice pipes up inside your mind and asking yourself, whose voice is this really? Is this the voice of my true self, or an echo from the past? Often, the inner critic appears most strongly when we are about to take a risk, express our authentic selves, or reach for something greater. Precisely because these moments threaten the familiar patterns the critic has built around safety and limitation. It is essential to understand that the inner critic believes it is protecting you. It operates from a place of fear, assuming that if it can make you small, quiet, and cautious, it can spare you from failure, rejection, or pain. However, this protection is based on outdated fears, not current realities, and instead of keeping you safe, it keeps you stuck. One of the most powerful ways to identify your inner critic is through journaling. Take note of the specific phrases you hear when you feel self-doubt or shame creeping in. Notice if there are certain themes, such as, "I'm not smart enough," "I'm too much," "I'm not worthy of love," and trace them back to early experiences or influential relationships. By mapping out the critic's common messages, you begin to shine a light on patterns that were once invisible and automatic. Another effective strategy is to give your inner critic a name or character. By externalizing it, imagining it as a separate entity rather than part of your true self, you reduce its power and gain emotional distance from its harsh narratives. You might picture it as a grumpy old man, a strict teacher, or a frightened child, whatever image resonates with you, and in doing so you create space between you and it, allowing you to respond to it rather than react from it. It's also important to recognize the emotional states that trigger the inner critic. Stress, fatigue, uncertainty, comparison, and rejection often fuel its voice. When you feel particularly vulnerable, the critic tends to grow louder, trying to shield you by preemptively pointing out flaws or dangers. Instead of silencing the critic with force or ignoring it, which often makes it louder, a more effective approach is to meet it with curiosity and compassion. When the critic says, "You'll never succeed," you can respond internally with, "Thank you for trying to protect me, but I choose to believe in my growth." This gentle but firm acknowledgement transforms your relationship with your inner critic from one of submission to one of conscious choice. Furthermore, it's crucial to distinguish between the inner critic and healthy self-reflection. Constructive self-reflection focuses on learning, growth, and kindness. It asks, "What can I improve next time?" rather than declaring, "You're a failure." It offers guidance, not punishment. Understanding this distinction allows you to use challenges as opportunities for improvement without falling into self-attack. Many people live their entire lives under the tyranny of an unchecked inner critic, never realizing that their greatest obstacle was not external circumstances, but the voice within that told them they were not capable, not deserving, not enough. By identifying the critic, you reclaim the first and most essential power, the power of awareness. You cannot change what you cannot see, but once you see it, clearly, compassionately, and courageously, you can begin to dismantle its hold on your mind and life. You begin to replace its harsh words with encouragement, its fear with courage, its doubt with faith. You begin to hear, beneath the noise of judgment, the quieter but infinitely wiser voice of your true self, the part of you that knows you are enough, that you are capable of extraordinary things, and that your dreams are valid and worth fighting for. Identifying your inner critic is not about blaming the past or erasing fear forever. It's about building a new relationship with your mind, one based on truth, love, and possibility rather than fear, shame, and limitation. As you move forward in this journey, remember, the critic may still whisper from time to time, but you no longer must listen. You have the choice every day to tune into a different voice, the voice of your courage, your wisdom, and your endless potential. By naming, observing, and compassionately challenging your inner critic, you take one of the most powerful steps toward destroying negative thinking and unlocking the life you were always meant to live. Chapter 3. Shifting your perspective. Once you have begun identifying the voice of your inner critic, the next crucial step in destroying negative thinking is learning how to shift your perspective. Because at its core, negative thinking is not about what happens to you, but how you interpret what happens to you. Perspective is the lens through which you experience reality, and just like a camera lens, it can either bring beauty, opportunity, and growth into focus or distort everything into fear, failure, and hopelessness. Most people are unaware that they even have a choice in the way they perceive situations. They are so accustomed to reacting automatically that they believe their initial interpretation is the truth. Yet the power of perspective is one of the greatest human freedoms. Between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space lies our ability to choose. Shifting your perspective is about claiming that space consciously and learning to see challenges not as confirmations of your limitations but as opportunities for learning, resilience, and transformation. It means recognizing that setbacks are not the end of the story but rather essential chapters in your growth. It involves understanding that the opinions of others are reflections of their own inner worlds, not absolute truths about your worth. When you shift your perspective, you begin to question automatic negative assumptions and replace them with empowering interpretations. For example, instead of thinking, "I failed because I'm not good enough," you might choose to think, "This setback taught me what I need to improve for next time." Instead of believing, "Everyone is better than me," you might reframe it as, "Everyone is on their own unique journey, and comparison only distracts me from mine." This is not about pretending everything is perfect or denying difficult emotions. It is about choosing a perspective that serves your growth rather than sabotages it. One powerful technique for shifting perspective is practicing cognitive reappraisal, deliberately finding a new, more constructive way to view a situation. If you lose a job, instead of seeing it as proof of failure, you might see it as a push toward a career that is a better fit. If a relationship ends, instead of seeing yourself as unlovable, you might recognize it as a necessary step toward finding a connection that truly honors you. Another method is asking powerful questions that challenge the automatic assumptions your inner critic feeds you. Is this thought absolutely true? Is there another way to look at this? What would I say to a friend in this situation? How might this experience be helping me grow stronger, wiser, or more compassionate? By engaging with these questions, you begin to loosen the rigid grip of negative interpretations and open new possibilities for meaning and action. Mindfulness also plays a critical role in shifting perspective, because mindfulness trains you to observe your thoughts without immediately reacting to them. When you can witness a negative thought without automatically believing it, you create the space needed to choose a different interpretation. Over time, you develop the ability to catch yourself in the act of negative thinking and pivot to a more empowering viewpoint. Gratitude practices are another transformative tool for shifting perspective. By intentionally focusing on what is good, beautiful, and working in your life, even in the midst of difficulty, you retrain your brain to see abundance rather than lack, possibility rather than limitation. Studies show that people who regularly practice gratitude experience higher levels of optimism, resilience, and emotional well-being, all because they have learned to view their lives through a more hopeful lens. It's also important to understand that shifting perspective is not a one-time event but a daily practice. Negative thinking is deeply ingrained and reinforced over years, so it will naturally try to reassert itself, especially during moments of stress or vulnerability. Every time you consciously choose a new perspective, however, you weaken the old pathways and strengthen new ones, gradually reshaping your mental landscape. You must be patient and persistent, understanding that change happens not through force but through gentle, consistent redirection. Celebrate even the small victories. the moments when you catch a negative thought and choose compassion instead of criticism, hope instead of despair, curiosity instead of judgment. Over time, these small shifts create massive transformation. Another critical aspect of shifting perspective is embracing the concept of growth mindset, the belief that abilities and intelligence are not fixed traits but can be developed through effort, learning, and perseverance. A growth mindset transforms failures from threats to opportunities, setbacks from defeats to feedback. It allows you to see yourself not as a static identity defined by past mistakes, but as an evolving, capable being who is always growing, always learning, and always worthy. When you adopt a growth mindset, challenges become exciting, not terrifying, because they are the soil from which your future success grows. One more perspective shift that can dramatically change your life is moving from self-judgment to self-compassion. Instead of beating yourself up for not being perfect, you begin to treat yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and encouragement that you would offer a dear friend. Self-compassion doesn't make you weak or complacent. It makes you resilient and brave, because it creates an internal environment where you feel safe to take risks, make mistakes, and keep going. In truth, the most important perspective shift you can make is seeing yourself not as broken, flawed, or limited, but as whole, capable, and worthy, exactly as you are. From this foundation, every other change becomes possible. In the end, life is not just about what happens to you, it is about the story you tell yourself about what happens, and you are the author of that story. Every day, every moment, you have the opportunity to choose a perspective that empowers you, uplifts you, and moves you closer to your highest self. Shifting your perspective is not about ignoring pain or pretending life is perfect. It is about meeting life with open eyes and an open heart, seeing both the challenges and the possibilities, and choosing to tell a story of hope, strength, and relentless growth. This chapter invites you to step fully into that power, to become the conscious creator of your experience, and to unlock a future where your mind no longer holds you back but instead propels you toward everything you were meant to become. Chapter 4. Building Mental Resilience. Building mental resilience is the cornerstone of destroying negative thinking and unlocking your fullest potential, because resilience is what allows you to withstand adversity, bounce back from setbacks, and continue moving forward with strength, courage, and hope even when life gets tough. Mental resilience is not something you are either born with or not. It is a skill, a collection of habits, attitudes, and inner resources that you can build, nurture, and strengthen over time just like a muscle. At its heart, resilience means developing the capacity to experience failure, rejection, disappointment, and loss without letting those experiences define you or derail your journey. It means learning to bend without breaking, to hurt without giving up, and to see every challenge not as a dead end but as a stepping stone toward greater wisdom and inner strength. To build mental resilience, you first need to cultivate a deep sense of self-trust, the belief that no matter what happens outside of you, you have the internal resources to face it, survive it, and eventually thrive because of it. This self-trust is not built by avoiding difficulties but by facing them, engaging with them, and learning from them. Every time you endure a difficult experience and come through it stronger, you send yourself the message, I am capable, I can handle this, I am resilient. One way to strengthen your resilience is by shifting how you view obstacles. Instead of seeing them as punishments or signs of inadequacy, you learn to see them as invitations to grow, opportunities to discover your true strength and develop new skills and insights. Another key component of resilience is emotional regulation, the ability to feel strong emotions without being overwhelmed or controlled by them. This does not mean suppressing your feelings or pretending to be positive all the time. Rather, it means allowing yourself to feel fully, honoring your emotions without judgment, and choosing healthy ways to process and express them. Practices such as mindfulness, deep breathing, journaling, and talking with trusted friends or therapists can help you stay grounded in the midst of emotional storms. A resilient mind also nurtures hope and optimism, not blind, unrealistic optimism, but a grounded, courageous belief that the future holds possibilities for good even when the present is hard. Hope fuels perseverance, and perseverance builds resilience. Even when you can't control what happens to you, you can always control your interpretation, your attitude, and your next step. In fact, one of the greatest signs of resilience is the ability to take action in the face of fear, uncertainty, or hardship, to keep moving even if the steps are small and halting. Another essential aspect of building resilience is fostering a strong sense of purpose and meaning. When you have a why that matters deeply to you, whether it's your dreams, your loved ones, your values, or your contribution to the world, you are more willing to endure difficulties and overcome obstacles, because your struggles are in service of something greater than yourself. Purpose transforms suffering into sacrifice and setbacks into fuel for your mission. Building resilience also involves cultivating supportive relationships. No one is meant to face life's hardships alone. True resilience is not about solitary toughness but about having a network of people who uplift you, encourage you, remind you of your worth when you forget it, and walk with you through the valleys. Vulnerability, being willing to share your struggles and accept support, is a sign of resilience, not weakness, because it connects you to others and reinforces your inner strength. Another powerful way to build resilience is to develop flexibility, the ability to adapt to change, to let go of rigid expectations, and to find new ways forward when old paths are blocked. Life is unpredictable, and those who insist that things must always go according to plan are the ones who suffer most when they don't. Resilient people, by contrast, are open to change, willing to learn, and able to reinvent themselves when necessary. They see failure not as a final verdict but as a temporary detour. Practicing self-compassion is also vital for resilience. You must become your own ally, not your enemy in times of struggle. Instead of berating yourself for falling short, you offer yourself understanding and encouragement, just as you would to a dear friend. This self-compassion softens the impact of failure, makes recovery quicker, and strengthens your commitment to growth. Another layer of resilience is cultivating patience, the ability to endure discomfort without rushing to escape it, to sit with uncertainty without demanding immediate answers, to trust the slow, often invisible process of transformation. Growth takes time, healing takes time, and the fruits of your efforts often appear long after the seeds are planted. Finally, building mental resilience requires a deep and enduring commitment to yourself. A decision that no matter what happens, you will not give up on your dreams, your healing, or your life. Resilience is built in the everyday moments when you choose to show up even when it's hard, to believe in yourself even when it's easier to doubt, and to keep moving forward even when the path ahead is unclear. It's built when you face your fears, when you rise after falling, when you say yes to life even after it has hurt you. Mental resilience is not about becoming invulnerable, it's about becoming unbreakable in spirit, knowing that life will challenge you, knowing that you will hurt sometimes, and choosing again and again to stay open, stay strong, and stay true to yourself. In building resilience, you build a foundation so strong that no storm can destroy you. A mind that bends but never breaks, a heart that feels but never hardens, a spirit that falls but always rises. This chapter is your invitation to begin that work, to commit to the practices that will strengthen your mind, nourish your soul, and prepare you for a life where challenges do not stop you but sharpen you, and where your resilience becomes the bridge that carries you from fear to freedom, from limitation to limitless possibility. Chapter 5. Reprogramming your mind for positivity is not about forcing yourself to be artificially cheerful or ignoring life's difficulties. It is about consciously choosing to build new mental patterns that support your growth, happiness, and fulfillment instead of unconsciously reinforcing cycles of negativity, fear, and self-doubt. The human brain is incredibly adaptable, a phenomenon known as neuroplasticity, which means that whatever thoughts you feed it most consistently eventually become your automatic way of thinking. If you have spent years listening to your inner critic, focusing on your flaws, expecting failure, and assuming the worst, your brain has been wired to prioritize negativity. But the beautiful truth is that with intention, repetition, and patience, you can rewire your brain to prioritize hope, gratitude, confidence, and possibility instead. Reprogramming your mind starts with awareness, becoming vividly conscious of the thoughts you think each day, the stories you tell yourself about who you are and what you deserve, and the lens through which you view your experiences. Without judgment, you begin to observe your mental habits, identifying patterns of pessimism, fear, and self-sabotage, and recognizing how deeply they influence your feelings, behaviors, and results. Once you see the patterns, you can disrupt them and replace them with new, empowering thoughts. One of the most powerful techniques for mental reprogramming is the practice of affirmations, positive, present-tense statements that reflect the truth of the person you are becoming. Affirmations like, I am worthy of success, I am resilient and capable, I deserve love and happiness, and every day I grow stronger and wiser begin to plant new seeds in your subconscious mind. At first, these statements might feel strange or untrue because they are challenging deeply ingrained beliefs, but with consistent repetition, they start to carve new neural pathways, gradually shifting your automatic self-talk from self-doubt to self-belief. Visualization is another potent tool for reprogramming your mind. By vividly imagining yourself succeeding, thriving, overcoming obstacles, and living your dreams, you train your brain to expect positive outcomes. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish strongly between imagined experiences and real ones, which means that mental rehearsals can powerfully prime you for success, confidence, and resilience. Daily visualization sessions, combined with affirmations, create a powerful inner environment that magnetizes positive results. Gratitude practice is yet another crucial pillar of mental reprogramming. By deliberately focusing your attention each day on what is good, beautiful, and working in your life, you retrain your brain to scan for blessings rather than problems. Keeping a gratitude journal, where you write down 3 to 5 things you are grateful for every day, helps shift your focus from scarcity to abundance, from fear to trust, from resentment to appreciation. Over time, gratitude becomes your natural state, and positivity flows more effortlessly. Another key strategy is conscious language shifting, becoming aware of the words you speak to others and yourself and choosing language that reflects hope, strength, and possibility rather than limitation and defeat. Instead of saying, "I can't," you say, "I'm learning to." Instead of, "This will never work," you say, "I will find a way." Instead of, "I'm a failure," you say, "I'm growing and evolving." Language is powerful because it not only expresses but also shapes your reality. Every word you choose becomes a building block of your future. Mental reprogramming also involves actively curating the influences you allow into your mind. If you constantly consume news filled with fear, negativity, and division, or spend time around people who complain, criticize, and doubt, your mind absorbs and mirrors those energies. Instead, surround yourself with positive, empowering books, podcasts, conversations, and communities. Fill your mind with stories of courage, resilience, kindness, and triumph. Choose inputs that nourish your spirit and reinforce the beliefs you want to strengthen. Equally important is cultivating patience and self-compassion throughout this process. Reprogramming your mind is not an overnight event but a lifelong journey. There will be days when old patterns resurface, when doubt creeps in, when negativity feels louder than hope, and that's okay. Every time you catch yourself slipping into an old thought pattern and gently redirect yourself toward a positive one, you are winning. Every moment of awareness, every intentional choice, every act of kindness toward yourself is a victory. Celebrate your progress, however small it may seem, because small shifts compound into massive transformation over time. Meditation and mindfulness practices can greatly accelerate your mental reprogramming by helping you develop deeper self-awareness and greater control over your thoughts. By regularly practicing stillness and observation, you strengthen your ability to notice negative thoughts without becoming entangled in them and to consciously choose more empowering responses. Mindfulness creates the mental space necessary for change. It moves you out of automatic reaction and into intentional creation. Another transformational practice is setting daily intentions. Each morning, decide who you want to be and how you want to show up in the world that day. Your intention might be, "Today I choose kindness," or "Today I trust myself," or "Today I focus on solutions, not problems." Setting intentions anchors you in positivity and purpose from the very start of the day, making it easier to navigate challenges with resilience and grace. Over time, as you consistently apply these tools, affirmations, visualization, gratitude, conscious language, mindful inputs, meditation, and daily intentions, your mind becomes a powerful ally rather than an adversary. Your default settings shift from fear to faith, from self-doubt to self-trust, from negativity to hope. You start to see possibilities where before you only saw obstacles, to believe in your ability to create change, and to approach life with an open, courageous heart. Reprogramming your mind for positivity does not mean ignoring the real challenges of life. It means meeting those challenges from a place of inner strength, creativity, and optimism. It means choosing day after day to believe in your potential, to focus on what is within your control, and to align your thoughts with the reality you want to create. In doing so, you unlock a future that is not limited by the wounds of your past or the fears of your mind but expanded by the limitless power of your spirit. This chapter is a call to action, to become the conscious architect of your thoughts, to claim your power to create joy and success from the inside out, and to reprogram your mind to be the launchpad for your highest, brightest, most unstoppable life. Chapter 6. Creating Empowering Beliefs is one of the most life-changing steps in destroying negative thinking and unlocking your true path, because beliefs are the silent architects of your reality. They determine what you see as possible, how you interpret events, and how much of your true potential you dare to claim. A belief is simply a repeated thought you have accepted as true, often without questioning where it came from or whether it still serves you. Many of the beliefs that govern our lives are inherited from childhood, shaped by parents, teachers, society, and experiences that may no longer be relevant to who we are today. If you grew up hearing, "Success is for other people," "I'm not good enough," or "Life is a constant struggle," chances are you unconsciously absorbed those beliefs and began acting in ways that reinforced them, creating a cycle of limitation. But the empowering truth is that beliefs are not facts, they are choices, and choices can be changed. Creating empowering beliefs starts with becoming radically aware of the limiting beliefs that currently govern your mind. You begin by noticing patterns. Every time you hesitate to pursue a goal, every time you feel unworthy of happiness or success, every time you expect failure instead of possibility. Behind these reactions are hidden beliefs, often formed in moments of vulnerability or misunderstanding, that whisper lies about your worth, your power, and your potential. The first step is to bring these beliefs into the light, naming them without judgment. I believe that I'm not smart enough. I believe that I'll always struggle. I believe that love is not for me. By naming the belief, you weaken its unconscious hold over you. Once identified, you must challenge these beliefs rigorously. Ask yourself, is this belief absolutely true? What evidence do I have for and against it? Where did this belief come from, and does it reflect the person I choose to be? Often you will find that these limiting beliefs are based on isolated events, misinterpretations, or the unhealed wounds of others projected onto you, not on any immutable truth about who you are. After dismantling the old belief, the next step is to consciously create a new, empowering belief to replace it. This is not about wishful thinking. It is about aligning with deeper truths that support your growth and honor your infinite potential. For example, instead of, I'm not good enough, you might create the belief, I am worthy of success and happiness because I exist. Instead of, life is hard, you might embrace, life presents challenges that strengthen and empower me. Instead of, I'm destined to fail, you might affirm, I have the power to learn, grow, and succeed at anything I commit to. Creating empowering beliefs is a process of reprogramming your inner dialogue, much like planting seeds in fertile soil and nurturing them with consistent attention. It requires repeating these new beliefs daily, especially when old fears arise. Affirmations, visualizations, journaling, and speaking your new beliefs aloud all help to reinforce and internalize them until they become your new normal. Another powerful tool is to act as if your empowering belief is already true. If you believed you were capable and worthy, how would you behave? What choices would you make? How would you treat yourself and others? Acting in alignment with your new beliefs sends a powerful signal to your subconscious mind that this new reality is real and achievable. Over time, your actions reinforce your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your new reality in a self-sustaining upward spiral. It's also vital to create a supportive inner and outer environment that nurtures your empowering beliefs. Surround yourself with people who see your greatness, who believe in possibilities, and who encourage your growth. Feed your mind with stories, ideas, and examples of people who have overcome limiting circumstances to create extraordinary lives. Celebrate every victory, no matter how small, as evidence that your new beliefs are becoming your lived experience. Recognize that setbacks do not invalidate your new beliefs but rather provide opportunities to strengthen them. When you encounter obstacles, instead of reverting to old narratives of defeat, you reaffirm your new truth. This challenge is here to help me grow stronger. I am capable of overcoming this. I am on the right path even when it's hard. One of the most transformative shifts you can make is moving from outcome-based beliefs, I am only successful if I achieve X, to identity-based beliefs, I am a resilient, capable person no matter what happens. Identity-based beliefs are unshakable because they are rooted in who you are, not in external circumstances that are beyond your full control. They give you a solid foundation from which to navigate the inevitable ups and downs of life with confidence and grace. Ultimately, creating empowering beliefs is about reclaiming your authority over your mind and, therefore, over your life. It is about refusing to be defined by the fears, doubts, and limitations that were never truly yours to begin with. It is about stepping into your rightful identity as a creator. Someone who does not passively accept the stories handed to them but actively chooses and shapes the beliefs that will define their journey. This chapter invites you to take full responsibility for your inner world, to choose beliefs that fuel your dreams instead of extinguishing them, and to recognize that every empowering belief you nurture is a step toward the life you were always meant to live. When you believe in your worth, your strength, your creativity, and your boundless potential, the world around you begins to mirror that belief, opening doors where once you saw walls, lighting paths where once you saw darkness. Your beliefs create your reality, so choose them wisely, nurture them daily, and watch as your life transforms in ways more beautiful and extraordinary than you ever dared to imagine. Conclusion. As we reach the end of this transformative journey, it becomes clear that destroying negative thinking and unlocking your true path is not a single event but a lifelong commitment to becoming the most powerful version of yourself, a dedication to healing old wounds, rewiring your mind and consciously choosing thoughts, beliefs, and habits that align with your highest potential and truest desires. The steps you have walked through: understanding the roots of your negativity, identifying the inner critic, breaking free from limiting patterns, building mental resilience, reprogramming your mind for positivity, creating empowering beliefs, and practicing daily mental discipline, are not just isolated lessons. They are interconnected pieces of a greater whole, a blueprint for living a life filled with purpose, confidence, peace, and fulfillment. True transformation happens not when you read words on a page but when you allow those words to become actions, when you practice daily awareness, when you catch yourself slipping into old patterns and gently guide yourself back to your path, and when you choose, moment after moment, to believe in your power rather than your fears. Destroying negative thinking is a revolutionary act because it goes against a world that often profits from your self-doubt and fear. It requires immense courage to say, "I will not believe the lies of limitation any longer. I am the creator of my reality." As you move forward, understand that setbacks are not failures but part of the process, that growth is not linear but full of twists and turns, and that every moment you choose to believe in yourself, to nurture your dreams, to practice gratitude and resilience, you are winning. This journey calls for patience because true change is built slowly, brick by brick, thought by thought, belief by belief, until the fortress of your mind is so strong, so rooted in love, possibility, and strength that no external storm can tear it down. Along this path, self-compassion will be your greatest ally. Treat yourself not as a harsh judge but as a loving guide, recognizing that healing and growth require tenderness, encouragement, and forgiveness. You are not broken, you are becoming. You are not behind, you are right where you need to be. Every time you rise after falling, every time you try again after doubting yourself, every time you hold on to hope when fear screams louder, you are embodying the strength and resilience that this journey has cultivated within you. Remember too that your inner work does not only transform your own life, it ripples outward, impacting everyone you encounter, inspiring others to believe in their own power, creating a wave of positivity and possibility in a world that desperately needs it. When you heal your mind, you heal your world. When you unlock your path, you light the way for others to unlock theirs. As you continue to walk this road, revisit the tools and principles you have learned whenever you need them. Return to your affirmations, your gratitude practices, your empowering beliefs, your moments of mindfulness, your daily acts of courage and kindness toward yourself. Build rituals that anchor you in your truth each day, habits that protect your peace and fuel your growth. Surround yourself with people and environments that nurture your light, and never apologize for outgrowing spaces that can no longer hold your greatness. Trust the wisdom of your journey, even when you cannot see the final destination, because each step you take in faith and courage brings you closer to a life beyond what your old fears could ever imagine. Know that you are worthy, not because of what you achieve but because of who you are. You are powerful, not because you never feel fear but because you choose to act with love and courage even when fear is present. You are destined for greatness, not because life will hand it to you easily but because you are willing to do the inner work that most people avoid. You are a creator of your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, your actions, your reality. Never again hand that power over to doubt, fear, negativity, or the limiting beliefs of others. You have everything within you to create a life of purpose, passion, abundance, and joy, and the journey you have taken through this book is only the beginning. It is the foundation upon which you will continue to build, evolve, and soar. Carry these truths with you. Your mind is your most powerful tool, your beliefs shape your destiny, your daily practices create your future, and your love for yourself is the fuel that will sustain you through every storm. In destroying negative thinking, you have not only freed yourself from mental chains but opened the doors to a limitless life. You are no longer a prisoner of your mind, you are the master of it. You are no longer defined by your past, you are the creator of your future. And you are no longer a victim of your fears, you are the embodiment of courage, hope, resilience, and transformation. As you step forward into the rest of your life, walk boldly, walk bravely, and never forget that you have the power to unlock any path you choose, because the key has always been, and will always be, within you.